Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile 2. In this episode, I'm going to be going over how I got so much mana, 4700, and I'm also going to go over my farming strat for the Atlas for gaining tons of XP really fast. I got to 93. We were pulling like 50 mil, 100 mil at some points per hour doing mapping. So anyway, let's get into the build. So mana upgrades. So a Mind Over Matter, and then Eldritch Battery, and then we have all this mana shit. So we're up to 4700. Some of the biggest upgrades I made was I was trying to think about how I could get more mana, and I realized we have so much flat mana with all this intelligence because each int is 2 mana. And then we have a ton of flat mana from all the mana we built on the gear. Mana on each piece of gear except for the body. And then on top of it, all this energy shield, so 220, 424, 277, turns into mana as well. So we just have so much flat mana. And then when you look for increased max mana sources, that's when I was using like this mana blessing. And then I found that the music stopped. That was weird. You can actually get increased max mana on the Ami, and it rolls up to like 10%. So then with the extra catalyst, it goes up to 12%. This is huge. So mine's 7, and I have mana. The increased max ES doesn't work. You have no ES because you converted it to mana. You need to use increased max mana to scale the mana. So this mod in my build was worth like 240 mana. So that mod, not even rolled perfectly, is higher than this mana mod. This is my point, and it's because of our setup, our build. It's actually like, it depends on how much mana you had already. If we didn't have tons of int, if we didn't have tons of ES turning into mana, if we didn't build tons of mana, the increased max mana is not as good. But yeah, it's huge actually in our build. So then with that, I had mentioned that I had that boot with the soul core of the 1 max fire res, and I wanted to put the mana in it, but the mana was more expensive for the soul core. Well, I ended up buying the soul core and getting a new boot. So the boot, big mana, big ES, so and the int, so it's like 250 mana, and then the increased max mana, so another like 70, 80. So this is like a 330 mana boot. The shield, the focus, sorry, is 277 ES with 166 mana, so that's already 430, 440 mana, and then the increased max mana, so this is taking it over 500 from a focus while still getting chaos res, lightning res, fire res. This one was still the move speed, the extra fire res, and then the glove I did increase max mana, so this is another like 250 mana, not counting the ES, so it's like 300 mana. Plus the reses. And then yeah, I showed the Ami was disgusting, and our chest plate, even I didn't re-upgrade this, but from before, 424 mana from the chest plate's insane because of the ES, and you can't roll mana on a chest, so life is good because you get the extra spirit and the extra mana. And then yeah, the helmet was the 220 plus the 178, so it's 400, and then the extra 60 from the int, 460 from the helmet as well. And then you can see it was increased armor evasion ES, so that's not as good, increasing the base. I didn't do that, I bought it like that. It's a really nice helmet though, and I would have preferred to have the increased max mana. So this is where we stacked like 13% of this increased max mana, while also upgrading some of the energy shield, like on the focus, upgrading the helmet, getting more intelligence, everything. Then we're also down to only 8 Arsonists now because the patch happened and the Arsonist cost me like 33 per or something crazy. They're level 29. So that's the mana. That's the mana stuff. And then with all that mana I've built and how increased max mana is so good, and it's the soul core of Zalatul. Okay. My mana regen's at 318. And then we still have the recoup node. 20% of damage taken recouped as mana. So I still have this. So I can recoup mana as well on top of the 318. And then I figure like I'll be healing while I take damage, so then I'll have more health to be able to take more damage to get more recoup, so it like feeds itself. It's kind of nice. The only problem is dots. It doesn't work on dots. But yeah, so that's the mana, how I did all the mana stuff, how I've gotten so much for now. Then I want to show you this. So pretty much I was trying tons of different Atlas strats. Main one I've been doing is boss nodes. So I get more map sustain. You run like your highest tier maps if you can do them, and do bosses, and then you sustain. I get like 2 to 3 from one boss, and sometimes the boss is doubled because I have boss difficulty 4. They get special abilities. One of them doubles, duplicates, so you get twice as many maps sustained. But anyways, with this, a map boss difficulty 4. Every map boss area has a shrine, and every map boss area is irradiated. So irradiated is that +1 level. So what I was doing is I'd find a boss with corruption, so it already has a free +1. So I pretty much went back and explored all the stuff I've not done, but was good. So boss with corruption is +1, and then it automatically would gain the irradiated, and so you didn't have to have irradiated through a watchtower, because the main way you would do irradiated is you get lost towers, and then you have your precursor tablets, and your precursor tablet would say that 8 maps in range are irradiated, for example, and then you irradiate them. But now you could just get map bosses guaranteed irradiated through the tree. Now if you don't have the tree, yeah, again, other thing I've been doing, similar, irradiated plus corruption is a +2 on the area, and if you run a 15 or a 16 and then you run the +2, it takes it all the way up to an 82, and then the XP is disgusting, because what I found is I'm not sure, I don't know for sure, but in PoE 1, it used to be like the level gap between you and the area could be, with no XP loss, could be like 3 plus your level divided by 16. So it'd be like 5 and 3, so 8. So 85 without any loss. And then in PoE 1, 3 levels of XP loss isn't that bad. It might be in PoE 2 that levels for XP loss are actually even more of a big deal, because it felt like when I was in the campaign, farming up a previous zone that was under leveled to get XP was really slow. But when I farmed an area that was either my level or extremely close, like 1 level off, or even just a higher level area than what I was farming, I would get way more XP. Like, it didn't feel like it's just a little bit. It always felt like more. So it might be that you actually just need the highest level maps in PoE 2. So getting 82 is some of the fastest XP I've experienced up to this point. And I haven't seen faster. I haven't been able to do like lower maps faster because I don't really have the speed for it. It's mostly just making the monsters more difficult because I can't speed up my like actual completion, so I just need them to be worth more. So yeah, T16s. Oh, how you get T16s if you didn't know. I Val my T15s. Val orbs are like 2 to 1 on X, by the way. Very expensive. Val orbs have gone up a lot because it helps people progress their atlas by upgrading the map tiers. It adds tons of mods, which helps Waystone sustain, so you don't have to exalt the map a bunch of times. It helps for, yeah, tiering up a map so you can get to 16. That literally isn't possible without the corruptions. It's pretty fun all around. Val orbs, what it's doing for the maps. I'd mostly say it's like the Waystone sustain, the extra tier higher, getting to T16 because of how the levels seem to matter so much. You're also then dropping gear that should be 82, but the main thing I've been targeting is the experience. It's been pretty slow to level at 92, and 93, man, it's got to be even slower. I'm imagining like 94 is already where it's going to be so insane to level up in PoE 2. Where in PoE 1 it would have been like 98, 99 is where it started to feel insane. So yeah, 94, 95 in PoE 2 now. Probably really hard. 100 might be, I don't even know if I'll ever reach. But those are my if you can handle the difficulty of extra levels, the extra levels on the areas really helps your waystone sustain, because it'll help you drop higher tier waystones. It'll also so not just boss, but also just targeting higher level. Also beyond, this is the other thing. In the beginning, I didn't like beyond because it was rippy, but to be honest, it's a league mechanic that's constantly spawning throughout the map monsters and loot, and also the +1 to the area. It might be one of the best experience mechanics in the game, because it's adding so many monsters, and but it does add difficulty, and like it does add the +1, which does make your area harder. So yeah, just be aware that if you do a boss and you add +2, well, it might one-shot you. It's pretty hard. So that's where just doing the +2 areas actually could be easier, or saving the boss till last, like full clear the whole map. Know that you're gonna enter a boss room and that it might one-shot you, and just not do it first, because yep. Also, the doing the boss, if you die, you rip your XP, so that's the other, like, really rippy, really scary part, really risky. It's not as easy as just, yeah, do this and level up. You have to not die, so it's actually easier to just do the +2 without the boss. But the boss gives you such great waystone sustain. I'm at a point where I have such great waystone sustain that I don't need to do the bosses now, and I'm targeting definitely, specifically, Irradiated plus Corrupted for the +2, and I feel like the levels are everything. And then if I get some extra mechanics, that's great, but I'm not trying to target them specifically right now. Especially, they just nerf Breach. It might have been better for XP with the extra elites, but it's nerfed now. Rest in peace. Yeah. Well, that's my man. 4,700, dude. It's absolutely insane. And like I got over my 300 regen. I'm really excited. That's why I want to share this update of just how I actually did it, because I don't know that everyone knew about the % max mana and how big of an effect it would actually have in our build, and how every piece of gear could technically have these runes. Like, the extra res is such a troll and a grief after how you could spend like 40 X for these max manas. Actually, are they still what they are? Salato. Let's check the price. They were like 30. Yeah, 20, 30. Okay, they're still very expensive. You could see why. They're really good. They're like twice as good in our build as just flat mana. Well, or even more. Either way, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys did enjoy these tips for the mana and the how to level up with the tree. My Atlas strat. There was one more part technically, is that I do all the towers. Like, I chain towers, and then I use the tablets on the regions to buff them up, and you get all these extra modifiers underneath. But like, the main thing for me has been the levels on the areas making such a big diff, and then running like your highest tier waystones with that, and just not dying. So taking it slow and making sure to get as much sustain as possible out of it. Well, have a great day, everyone, and good luck. Take my RNG, and I'll see you guys in today's stream.